Ja? Ah, kijk, ik heb hier een medestander. Nice. One tab. Ga ik meteen... Shit. One tab.
Kwijt hebben. Dat ene knopje slaat wel op een soort van list. Alleen die URL's onthoudt, dus dat scheelt ook heel veel geheugen. Dan kan je het zo, als je daar gewoon op klikt. Oké, ja.
Oh, dat is echt iets voor mij.
Je kan het zeg maar proberen van oké, dit zijn allemaal search results voor stuff.
Ja, precies. Oh, nice. Oké, thanks. Nu al een topavond. Oké. Yeah, oh, so, woo, okay, so I'm just going to continue in English, I guess. I'm not sure if it's necessary, but we'll do. Okay, well, my name is Gerald Versluis, and I'm going to do the Xamarin part of all this, so the most fun part. For those who don't know me, I've seen a couple of familiar faces here and there. I specialize in Xamarin, in apps. I've been doing it for a few years now, and I've been rewarded as a Microsoft MVP since this month, so yay. Okay, I follow the... thank you. I followed the same pattern that Fanny did. So I have this one here. Okay, I'm actually behind a couple of releases. So let's just start with the first one. It's going to be really hard to look at sometimes because I have the iOS simulator here, and whenever I VM Fusion over to my Windows, everything is like, wow, in your face. So I'm going to have to switch resolution quite a couple of times because every time when I do this, it goes back and it's really sucks. So, okay. Oh, this is working perfectly already. Okay, so I have Fanny's marvelous little web API running back here. So here is the feed controller that he just showed to you. Okay, you've seen everything of this, so it's just running here. We're just gonna quickly close this. We've seen all of that. So let's go to the cool part. Step 0. I just created a new Xamarin app. Who has worked with Xamarin already? Okay, quite some people. I have nothing new to tell anymore, damn it. Okay, so here's just your basic setup. I'm using a PCL. I'm actually a big fan of PCLs. So here is where you want to define your main app. So this is just basically a blank app, file new. This is what you get. Actually, you do get a Windows Phone and Windows Phone 8 here. Just delete it. I almost wanted to delete the universal Windows, but probably have to keep some people happy here. Martin, where are you? Yeah. It's the only Windows user phone in Netherlands, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, probably. So nothing fancy going on here. You just get the main page. There's quite some few Xamarin developers here, so there's nothing much awesome really going on here. This will be awesome. Okay, let's see this. We go to the iPhone emulator, so I'll have to switch resolutions again. Pokémon, gotta catch them all. Ah, there it goes. So nothing fancy. This will be awesome, just like Fanny started. Woohoo! This is working. Okay, so nothing going on here. I don't actually know why this step is in here. Retrieving a token. So let's go right into the ASP.NET Core API and let's get the token from there. I solved this a little bit different than Fanny. I just created a bunch of folders here. Okay, so and what this does. Oh, let's do things together here. Yay. Apply. Wow, this is really going great. Okay. So this should look quite familiar. I here have my app identifier because I have submitted my app to Fani's web server, and he said, okay, here is some app identifier and an app secret which you can use to identify your app. So they're in here. Also, I've got the base API URL, which is this IP address, which is this PC, because I'm running it locally, so hooray. So this is in here. Also, I have extended the main page. Also a big fan of XAML, so all the interface will be done in XAML. Just a stack layout with a button, click me, and a label which will show the token. So what's behind this button on clicked? I just did it in the code behind for now. Already open. You want to close it? Yes. Okay. IntelliSets doesn't really get this. Okay. So what's happening here? Like Fani explained, here I just fire a HTTP request to the base API URL, and first I have to get the token. So what I have to do is add the basic authentication with the base 64 configured string with the app identifier colon and then the app secret. So this will do the same, but then he did it in the lame postman thing. But we're going to do this from the app. We're going to get back the results from the JWT token endpoint. And also, like Fani mentioned, we have to use the multi-part form data content. And we're going to post it for now to the label I've entered. So let's just quickly go through these basic steps. Okay. Here we go. Please. Thank you. No? Launching. Ah, there it is. Okay, so I actually forgot to center this, but it doesn't matter. So here we have our button, click me. This will be awesome. So if I do this, it should go back to the backend, which is running on my other system. And it just gets back the raw JSON, like you saw in previous session. Just plain text. So, but hey, we can start working with this. So right now we have to get this token out of this, so we can identify all our next calls to the secured endpoints, which Fani just built. So we have to get this out and put this into every request we do from now on. Okay, which is probably what I will do in adding security. Okay, so now we're going to see, I'm going to take the bearer token actually out with JSON.NET. You can just serialize, create an object, serialize it. Okay, I can stop running because I can't reach the button, which is great. Oh, I get a different format every time as well. That's cool. Okay. I was waiting for that one, actually. Yeah, really? Oh, you did longer. You did longer, did you? Okay, so here I actually added a folder for the models, which is going to hold my JWT token. It's nothing fancy here. If we open it, you will probably just see the token type, token. Yeah, I reckon you've all seen this before. It's just JSON.NET. You can add it as a NuGet package to your Xamarin app as well. And here we say that we want to get the token type out. I don't like this kind of casing, so I want to use this, but get to this from auto deserializing it. And I got some helper here. I think I'm going to use that in the next step. Actually, this is some guy came up to me with a question. This is the settings plugin right here. If you install a NuGet package from James Montemagno, He is working with Xamarin, well, Microsoft now, and he wrote this whole bunch of plugins for basic stuff like using your GPS sensor, saving some settings, and whatnot. So this is one of them. So you can save easy user settings. They're persistent throughout restarting your application, but it will get lost if you delete your application. So this is going to be useful if you're wanting to store the token that we retrieve. So I've actually did the token type. We're going to save that here, which is going to be bearer. So I could have hard coded that, but finally we'll think of some other thing to put there. And this is the token itself. So nothing fancy going on here. It's just going to there. This is getters and setters. So it's going to store it. If it's not there yet, it has a default type here, which are both string empty. So now when we look at the code behind from our main page, you see things have been a little more extensive. Now when we do the button on click, we get the token, but now we deserialize it through JSON.NET right here, and we save it into our settings. So here we save the token type, here we save the token, and to show you guys some nice little output, it's going to say that he has the power to do other requests, and also the status code. So we can see there's actually a difference in there. I've added another button, whoops, which does actually a secure request. So this is going to do, this is going to add a request header with the authorization with the token settings that I just got here. So this is going to get it out of the settings, the token type, which is bearer, and the token, which is going to get in a little minute. And then it's just going to get the root. So we're probably going to see some messed up ASCII art Pokemon thing. And that's what I'm going to show you guys back here. And then I have some button to reset the tokens again to prove you that it actually works. So let's see this in action. By the way, I'm showing you all this on the iOS simulator. Normally, that works fastest for me, and I can just switch around like this, no problems. But if it's hooked to a beamer, then not so much. So, but this should all work. I've actually tried it at home. You can just set your Android project to your starter project, and it should work as well. Didn't use Universal Windows because no one does. Ah, there it is. I should think of some stand-up comedy act for in between. Okay, so here we can do get token again. It says OK, so this is the HTTP return verb thing. And it says I've got the power, so now I can make a secure call and see the woo Poke API. Looks good, right? But it's getting there, and it actually returns my app123, which is my app identifier. So if I switch it out for something else, it should update here as well. So if I now press this button, my token is gone. So whenever I try to make a secure call again, it says unauthorized because I can't get in. It's not providing a token. So right now we have an app which can make secure requests to the backend. So let's do something useful with that. So actually, there's probably going to be some live code at the end of this session because I didn't have enough time to prepare. So what I'm going to do now is actually, I'm going to kick it up a notch here because right now I'm going to implement the actual calls to the backend, which is there, starting with the feed, so who caught what Pokemon, to see how good you all are, and also implement some woohoo, a tweet. Some Mvvm framework in there, so we don't have to work in all the code behind anymore. From there, I am going to have to improvise on whatever features we're going to add from there. So let's see. Okay. Let's get this back. No, no one is square. Like this. Keep. Okay. So it's coming up right here. So I'll see in a minute. Ah, this is a lot more files, so it has to be this one. Okay, so I've tidied things up a bit because now the main page, has moved here, and it should have lost all the code behind. Yeah. So I just have the XAML here now, which is probably extended a little bit. Not so much actually, because Xamarin.Forms is awesome. Okay, so I've just defined a list view here, and I've bound it to a view model, which is going to get the feed items for me. So the feed items was the items with who caught which Pokemon at what time. So that's what we're going to get here. So there's nothing fancy going on here. You just have a list view. You actually have behaviors, which is something that it's a separate NuGet package, I think, in Xamarin.Forms, and you can turn events into commands. Well, that's one of the things you can do here. And I don't know why the list view doesn't have a command to see which item it's selected. It's an event for some reason. The item selected command. No, wait, that's mine. So I just fixed it like this. I like this better. Also, we can use item templates, which you probably know if you've worked with Xamarin.Forms or WPF. Wow. Okay, before. And you can specify some template. In this case, an image cell, which is already built into Xamarin.Forms, and we can just assign the properties like Pokémon. So we're going to probably see some image of the Pokémon, a text with the name and some kind of description. And what I'm using for all this, just have a quick look at the references. I'm using fresh Mvvm. There's a lot of Mvvm frameworks out there now for Xamarin, Xamarin.Forms, etc. Another very popular one is Cross Mvvm, Mvvm Cross, I have to turn around, or Prism, or whatever. There's a lot out there now. Yeah, fresh Mvvm, I just picked it up really early on, had some discussions with the developer of it, and I don't know, kind of stuck. It's really is easy to implement, and it just works. It adds only what you need and not some bloated things that you don't need. So I really like to use it. It also comes with a IOC, so it also sees to it that you can use some dependency injection in there. And another thing I'm going to use is a refit, which is actually not Xamarin specific. It's a really nice NuGet package for implementing calls to REST APIs. So let's have a look at that first, which is in services. No, sorry, interfaces. This one. Okay, so what I did here is define a interface. And you can see some different calls to the backend server. If you recall, I can get it here for you. Look at the feed controller, here it is, and we have 3 overloads. So we can say, okay, we just go to the feed root and get a list from 0 and the default max item count, so that's going to be 5. And we're going to get from, so where we can get from a certain ID, or from and take how many we set here. So there are the endpoints we can get from the feed controller, and I implemented them here with refit just by defining an interface. And the only thing I have to do is say, okay, get attribute, and then I have to say the address from some kind of base address I have defined somewhere else in the constants file. I can say, okay, on /feed, you have to give me an implementation of a method which goes to that endpoint and gets me back whatever you define here as a return type. You can also do some things with headers, which is what we want to do. And like this, I've actually defined all the calls to the backend server. Because if you've implemented some calls to REST service before, they all look the same. You go make what I did before. You make a HTTP client. You make sure you dispose it at the end. And they all basically look the same. You can do some optimizations that it reuses the HTTP client, etc., etc. If you use it like this with refit, you just have a couple of lines, and you can go to the backend from here. What it will do in the background is generate methods based on the attributes that you put above it. Okay, so but we have a header authorization bearer here, but how does it know which token to use? Yeah, that's a good question. Phew, it's really hot in here. Okay, for that we have a authenticated HTTP handler, which is nothing Xamarin specific as well. It's just an HTTP client handler. You can add it to the HTTP client, and it just like some sort of middleware that we've seen in ASP.NET. It just gets somewhere in the pipeline, and it will scan through the requests or the outgoing requests. And in our case, we're going to say, okay, we give it a func, which it uses to get a new token in case it's expired or we get a new one or whatever. And we have this constructor here to check if that's not null. And whenever a request gets sent, we check if it does have any authorization header already. And if it's not null, we're going to get a token. So you probably won't want to implement some logic here to check if the token is expired or you don't have one or whatever. It's not in there right now because we don't really have any way to check if it expired. So right now it gets a new one every time. And whenever it got the token, we're going to add that to the headers authorization with the scheme and the token, and we're going to continue with the base call. So this you just have to set up once. Yeah, where do I set it up? Oh, yeah. I've created a service to handle all the backend calls because we still need to call the refit interface. The way we do that is we just have the interface here as a property, and we check it for if it's null, we get a new one. And here we see that it defines a new HTTP client with our new authenticated HTTP client handler and a method to get a new token. Also, we specify the base address so it knows at what address it can find the endpoints. So we have the get token endpoint here. See, here's the to-do for checking if it expired or not. And this actually is the only one which still uses the HTTP client in its old form, with again the call we saw before with the app secret, app identifier, basic, etc., etc. All the things we need to get a new token. But now it just returns it. It doesn't even save it in the settings, so we could discard that for now. The reason I do this the old way is because I tried it via the refit API as well. But then I found out it sent out a request. It saw that it didn't have a token. It tried to get a token through this, and then it got stuck in there. So the main thing you have to remember here that you can't. Wow, I'm really tired. I'm sorry. You can't access the get token endpoint by the refit NuGet, because then it will go through the same pipeline and check if it has a token or not and get stuck in there. So don't do that. For the rest of the endpoints, we just have some methods which implement them, or not really implement them. One that is done by the refit NuGet package, but we still have to create some client to get them out for us. So that's where they are here. You can put some logic in here to determine. I've gone with the -1 if we don't have a limit, so it just calls the good overload, the right overload. So now for the MVVM part, which is really easy to implement, like I said before. Here at the app startup, this is the starting point for your app. I've created a method which does register dependencies, so it gets dependency injection right with it, which registers actually a interface of my Poke API service with a new instance. So nothing fancy here. What you have to do then, fresh MVVM implements page model to page model navigation. So you can just say, okay, I want to use a navigation container, so it gets a nice title bar on top and a back button if you put pages on top of it. And then we can say, okay, resolve page model, and we pass in a page model for which it will get the corresponding page. And it does this by name conventions. So I have to have a main page. It just strips out the model part here and looks for a main page wherever in your same project. It can be in a subfolder. I like to put it in a subfolder here, pages, page models. So these should always be equal. Yeah, here, the page models. Yeah, it has been renamed to page model to match the Xamarin way of naming things. But these are the view models and the views. Do we have any models? Yeah, I've gotten the models for the log item, the player, and the Pokemon. So that's it. We should be able to get a list now.
So how does it handle exceptions and all this? Everything doesn't exist anymore.
Right now it just crashes.
So it just throws an exception and you have to...
Yeah, refit throws an exception with the HTTP status code. You have other NuGet packages for it. Is that Poly? Is that the? Whoa, okay. Poly, which is also not Xamarin specific, but it's perfect for a fluent way of exception handling. So you can say, try this call once or try it 3 times and then give up. And you could no. It actually does any type of exception handling or retry mechanisms or that kind of things. Poly, P-O-L-L-Y. Okay, so here it is. Ta-da! You can actually see the Bulbasaur I've caught today at noon, which is really awesome. The man key is done by Niels. Niels, no, okay. Eric S, I haven't seen him either. Fadi, ooh, an oddish. Well, that kind of resembles you. So here you can see we called the backend and we got actually 5. Oh, here is the teeny tiny meetup avatar. Oh, not mine. Oh, I'm gone. Does it have you? No, it's not you either. Ah, good one. Yeah. Not sure if it does out of the box, but you can make it work. Yeah. Actually, that's a nice bridge. Cool. You can see in the normal list view, the images, well, it shows them, but if it's really big, it gets all out of line and it's not really looking fancy. So let's try to work with that. I actually have, oh, here we go. No. I closed the settings screen. No. Okay, get away. Oh, I'm really sorry. Advanced. Whatever. Okay, so I actually created a step 4, which isn't there yet. It's called step 3 here, doesn't matter. Because that's another. Actually, there are a lot of plugins now for Xamarin.Forms. So it was already very good for creating apps quickly, multi-platform, native. Everyone knows the marketing talk. But now they're starting to come in more and more components and NuGets and that you can just use out of the box. One of them is FF image loading. You thought it would stand for fucking fast image loading, but it's fast and furious, mind you. So if you just add that, you can very easily use caching for your images. You can also implement some base64 image source for it. And one thing it can do also is add transformations really easily. So let's try to just get a nice round Pokemon image in there. I can do some snippet magic here. If I can find it. Ta-da! Whoosh! Okay, so my main page got extended really fast. Here on top, you can see the FF image loading, and the transformations are actually a separate NuGet package. And here you see my data template. So the template which a view cell shows has been extended because now it's just a view cell under the image cell, which is basically this, but they predefine it for you. Which will show a grid, but if you want to do anything custom with viewing something in a cell, you have to go into structure that yourself. So this is how that goes. You could actually take this piece out, put it in a separate file, and reuse it later on with just one line instead of a whole bunch and copy it, just as you would from WPF or anything else. So here you can see the FF image loading. It's actually called a cached image. So it caches it automatically for days, hours, how long as you want. You can also specify some placeholders for loading. So while it's loading, it shows the user default. It doesn't do that actually right now because this file isn't here. For error, just the same, and you can specify a source, which is going to be our Pokemon image URL again. So right here you can see I've added a transformation which is going to do a circle transformation, and that's it. Right now it will be a circle of, well, I've defined the column of 60, so it's going to be a circle of 60 pixels wide and high. And I've added the labels back, so it just does a description, name and description right here. I'm not going to run it just yet because we're going to have to go back and forth and resolution magic again. So let me just get something in there as well. Which is actually another nice thing if you want to build a really real-life app, is we just saw the dates under it. So I catched it today, or someone catched it last year, whatever. What you see with the popular big websites, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, you see the messages says, okay, yesterday, just now, or an hour ago, a year ago. That's something we wanted to add. So also there's a very good NuGet package for that. It's not, the phrase is not there's an app for that, but there's a NuGet package for that, I think, which is called Humanizer. Really nice, not Xamarin specific again, and it does really nice things. Not only with dates and that kind of things, but also making it text, other forms of human readable. So let's get into that. I have to go into the model lock item. So here's the description I've got now. Caught at toString, date, month, year, and so forth. Actually, with the string interpolation, you can just use that in Xamarin. Really awesome. So, but what we want to do is add another one. There should be one in here as well. Which with a human description? No, not like that. Okay, let's just type it. Doesn't matter. A human description, great. And let's not toString this, but humanize it. Oh, awesome. Okay, that's it. Actually, if we just, this is an extension method. It works on probably more types than just a date. But right now, it will already tell me that it a Pokemon's caught yesterday, last year, or whatever. We'll see that in a little bit. It also has a lot of localization, so you can also do it in Dutch, Hungarian, South African, I don't know. English, really? You call it? Okay. Sorry? Yeah, in this one it's updated. Another thing which might be nice, it's halfway implemented, so let's see if we can get it to work. Again, on the main page, no code behind, so we still have this list view, and something that's really popular pattern to refresh data. The first thing you're going to do is pull it down and see if it refreshes. Actually, in Xamarin, that's really easy to do because you just add this refresh command to the list view, and that's it basically. So you just can bind this to a command because it's called a refresh command. So we give this I'll give it feed refresh command. Oh, great. Okay. Which is bound to our page model. So let's go back there of our main page. Already did some implementing here. Just call it different. That's cool. So I just put the feed refresh command here. I'm going to assign to it in the constructor. Thank you. And give it some method that it's going to run whenever this command is called. Go to implementation. And with this implementation, I want to call the backend again, but now a different endpoint, the feed endpoint, which will give me a new Pokemon from the maximum ID we have right now in our list. And I just want to get one, so we can repeat the process and see one coming in each time. Then it's going to add it to our log items observable collection, which should be up here. And if you've worked with that before and data binding and all that stuff, you know you have to keep this observable collection and just add and clear that thing. You don't want to re-instance it because it loses the binding and then you have to start all over again. So this is the way to loop through it and insert it. And I'm going to insert it at the top. Actually, I have some code I don't use here. Okay, so there's one thing I am forgetting right now. We have to tell the list view that we enable is pull to refresh enabled, true, which kind of is implied when I specify a refresh command, but okay. And is refreshing is another thing, which we will bind to the is loading. Because what it will do, bool is loading, awesome, is loading is false. Okay, let's just see if this does anything at all. Because what it will do, the list view, you can pull it down, it's all built in there, and you start seeing some circle to indicate that items are loading or whatever you're doing in there. And if you don't set the is loading or the is refreshing property on the list view back, it will just keep the activity spinner on top and you will look at it while the data is refreshed already. So that's not something we want. So this is just going to load up, which it said it does.
You can also use it when you're loading the page for the first time. So you're not pulling to refresh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just whenever you set it to true or false, it will show up there. Okay, so it looks kind of nicer now because here it's kind of hard to see, but this man key has some circular image in it right now. We don't see the humanizer up here because I forgot to set it to the new description. But we can do this. We actually got one up here, but it's the same as here. Let's do this again, and we get the same one again. Okay, that's not completely what we're after, but you can see it does something. I'm getting the max ID.
connecting
Said
to the
from
system.
I think it's a bug in the backend, right? Okay, so let's add this humanizer here. So we can set that working as well. Okay, I'll run it again. We're still on. No, because because you assign it to the isLoading, the moment you slide it down, it will be set to true, and it will show for a minute. But because this operation is really fast, it gets set to false and it disappears again. Yeah, yeah, it gets set to true at the moment you slide it down far enough to. You can, and then it will show up, but it will go automatically when you slide it as well. Here you can see. Now it says 19 hours, 3 days, 1 month, whatever. And I chose the. Yeah.
When you refresh the event, is you notify that?
No, because I'm using an observable collection that gets done automatically. But there is something nice for that as well. See, if I slide this down, it gets set to true. And when okay. There is actually, I didn't really use it. Let's still use the collection still. So here the page model. I think I actually added the NuGet package for that as well, which is called yeah, it's Fody Weavers here. Property changed, which is Fody. I think that's a suite of multiple NuGet packages, and they have one which is called property change. This is really nice if you're working with view models and the kind of stuff, because now I can just go here to the top of my class and say implement. Boom. All my properties inside here right now will automatically get the if changed, blah, blah, invoke, notify changed, the blah, blah, all the things you have to repeat all in all. It will, like, actually the same like the refit NuGet package, it will generate it for you at compile time. You can say, okay, but I don't want all the properties to do that. You can say here, I think something, ignore, Jason, ignore. No. Property changed. Do not notify. You have some control over it here. You can say also notify for. So if properties are dependent of each other, you can say, okay, this property changed, but you also have to notify for that property. That's changed as well, and it will get updated in a view accordingly. So that's something to check out as well. Another thing we can try to do really quickly, I'm just going to keep it this big. You have to deal with it, I'm sorry. Is not this. I can't even deal with it, okay. The content page is what we're in, and we can use some toolbar items, okay. The toolbar item with a text new. See if we can quickly, as a last thing, add some new. I have no idea how I'm doing on time, so I'm just gonna go on until people walk out or something. Binding new. Okay. New feed item command. Okay, that's great. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have this again, but right now there's going to be a button in the top right here which is going to say new. I think for Android is going to show up left because fuck thumb things. Okay. I'm an iOS man if you didn't notice yet. Sorry? I paid some people off. Yeah, they bought Xamarin and now we're one big happy family. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so I've added a new feed item command. So let's just see quickly. New feed item command, add log item. If we go into there, whoops. This is actually fresh Mvvm right here, and with some page model navigation. So I just specify which page model I want to go to, and then I can it will automatically resolve the right page for this. You also have some nice control over it, because if you are on a iPad or something, you can influence the way it finds pages. So you can actually say, okay, if you're an iPad, then just use this page. So that's something really cool. You can do that because you have more space there. So maybe you want to show a different screen than on a little screen. And you just call core methods push page model with the page model. You have some options here. You can push some data back and forth. So I can push a view model in here, so in which I can work with in some detail view. And you can say, okay, is it model or not? So it will show up as a screen which cannot be closed unless you implement some button which do that. And also if it should animate, yes or no. So I've added this add log item page. Pick Pokemon command. That's not sure if we're going to do all of this. I've tried to create some page in which we can add a new Pokemon card thing. I've hard-coded my own thing in here. Card add, I was going to implement this, and I was going to, because we still have the endpoint for all the list of Pokemon. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of work to do right now. Okay. Let's see if I can get it to work real fast. No, don't think I can. Okay, so let's just try interfaces API. So the only thing I have to do here, say, okay, this is going to be just a task because it's not, maybe it returns something, I don't know. Log entry, okay. That's good point. Discard it. Bye-bye. Post log entry async, because we are good Microsoft developers. And we're going to post this to the feed endpoint, right? But I don't have a log entry. Okay, this is great. Okay, I have to make one. Really? It has a control dot, okay. Great. Here we go. Log entry. Here it is. Don't try this at home. Don't copy and paste all this. Actually, you can in this case. Doesn't matter. Yes, I want to use data. Entry. Okay. Pick Pokemon commands. I'm just going to hard code one. Doesn't really matter. Button let's make this the post button. Doesn't really matter. Pick Pokemon command. Yeah, great. Add log item page model. Okay, are you even following this? Because I'm just working here. Okay, so I'll describe what I'm doing. Let's try. I actually just put this new endpoint here in the refit interface. So right now I told it to post to the feed endpoint, and it's going to expect a new log entry, and it's going to automatically put those headers in there, so it will all be authenticated and it will all be all right. I've also did some very simple interface here, which normally would let you pick a Pokemon from a list, but that's going to be way too much work now. You're going to be the user because you have logged in before with your Meetup account, whatever. Something that's not in scope for this session. And it's going to be caught at, which is going to be like now, because you're entering it now, or maybe I will let you select a date to backdate it. So let's just implement this command here to, no, wait, there's one step before that. I have to put it in my own service here as well. Task, post, feed, item, don't really know what I called it before, doesn't matter. Entry. And now it's going to complain to my implementation that it isn't there. Yay. Okay, so here we go. And this is just going to do, well, it's returning nothing. Async it here. Await our client, and we're going to post new log entry. Just let's hard code it for now. Whoops. Date time now. ID is whatever. Okay. What is it? There's oh, some. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, but this is just the ID for this log entry, right? Okay. Player ID, okay, just gonna pick someone random here. And the Pokemon ID, well, that's between 1 and 140 or something, right? Which one is Pikachu, you know? No, oh, damn. 82? No. Okay, so now, when I run this, everything is going to explode probably. Because never live code on a session. Okay, so here's the table with log entries. This is where the other ones were coming from. So if all goes well, let's do new query now. It's probably broken its connection. Oh, new query, I meant execute. It's coming up here. Okay, so imagine this is some fancy, beautiful screen. I am actually missing a button here. That sucks. Okay. Oh, man. I promise this isn't the best session I've done. I'm really sorry. I hope it makes any sense at all. But no, maybe I have to give it some text. Do it. Yeah. It'll probably make a lot more sense then. Pokémon. Yeah, it will all be on GitHub. I will. I hope so. I have to drive 2 hours back first. Then I'm going to sleep. And then I'll finalize this in something more fancy than this, and then I'll be posted. Sorry? No, I'm a robot. I go on forever. Come with me if you want to live. That kind of stuff. Okay, do it. Yeah. Ooh, this hanging is usually not good. Oh. Oh, methods of operation is not implemented. Really cool. Why isn't it? I'm not sure. Okay, so just a very quick look. Added because the connection limit was reached. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. Okay, not really sure what's happening here. Wow, okay. Nothing. Oh, well, that makes sense. Okay, so let's show some dependency injection while we're at it. Hopefully that's the last one. So we have the Poke API. Hooray for naming. Are you sure? I think it's the API one. No. Yeah, it's the service. Damn you. I hate it when you're right. We're not married or anything. Work wife. Okay, so Poke API service. Yeah, Poke API. Let's go with that. And the underscore Poke API is Poke API. So because I registered it with the fresh IOC container, it will recognize that this is in there, and it will inject it automatically because I use page model to page model navigation. It should be there. Okay, PokeAPI.post feed item. Actually, don't need to do this because we hard-coded one. Okay, maybe specify one. No, it's okay. Okay, now it's going to work. I can feel it. So, anyone did anything fun today? Yeah, oh, thank you. Even I'm starting to wonder how I became MVP, right? Okay, new. Yes, here we go. Do it. Okay, it doesn't crash you. That's good. Okay, we have 15 now. Here we go. Yes. Oh my God. Applause. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. If I do it again, it should create a couple more, I guess. Yeah. So, okay. So that's you have to do some massive UI things, but in basics you can implement backend calls like this really easily and kind of in a secure way. Like Fanny already mentioned, you must not rely on this one security thing. You also want user authentication, that kind of stuff. HTTPS, really important. But this gives you an idea of how to connect your apps in a secure way, easy way, to a cool, awesome ASP.NET backend. So, sorry again, not my best session, but I hope you learned something from it. This is me again. This is the GitHub as well. It's actually JF Versluis. We'll probably do out some email tomorrow with the slides we don't have and the recordings of this session and some links where you can rate this session. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Your one, okay. Oh yeah. Oh, go to mine. Yeah, okay.
Guys, feedback is really important for us. If you can scan that QR code, if you download the virus and see the bank details.
can just click on it.
Or you can just click on it anyway. But thank you very much, Gerald. Thank you. And much especially Inky for the venue and Microsoft for the great Subway lunches. Guys, and thank you all for coming. And I think you guys will get a hand of applause because it's past your bedtime.